Hello, Pink Collective, and welcome to Pink After Dark. Tonight's tales blur the line between true and fictional, so get comfortable, turn down the lights, and let's begin.
Good evening, Blackwood Insomniacs. It's your local ghost storyteller, Allie Clifford. If you're still awake, you've come to the right place. To everyone who has gone home for the Christmas break or is on their way, please travel safely and enjoy the time away. Lord knows, after what I'm about to tell you tonight, you might want to stay gone a little longer. This week's story is about the only way in and out of Ravenbrooke, and that includes Blackwood University. Last week, we spoke about the forest surrounding the school and town, a forest that many believe, and some still do, is responsible for the disappearance of 9 women, maybe even more. I left the question open to you, Blackwood, and you did not disappoint. Some of you said it was James Blackwood himself, the founder of this very university, who took those women, and some of you have even seen his shadow drifting between the trees at night. Others believe the forest is haunted, that it carries the spirit of something ancient and hungry. A few of you think the 2 girls simply ran away. Others are convinced there's a cult operating in this town, and that the women were all sacrifices. One of you mentioned the last pledge, and more than a few of you said the same thing. Don't go into the woods. All compelling theories, all unsettling in their own right, but tonight we're stepping out of the trees and onto the road. Let's talk about First Street. First Street is the only road that leads into and out of Ravenbrooke, and that includes Blackwood University. Most of you probably remember the first time you drove here. Maybe it was open day, maybe it was orientation, maybe it was the day you moved in, boxes packed, music too loud, not yet knowing what kind of place you were about to call home. You would have seen the sign first, a big weathered marker for Ravenbrooke, and turned off the highway. The road shifts beneath you almost immediately. The smooth tar of the highway gives way to old brick, laid so long ago no one seems to remember who put it there or why. The change is subtle, almost gentle, like the town is reaching out and pulling you in on its own terms. The street is lined with cast iron lamp posts, tall, old-fashioned things that look like they belong to another century entirely. And maybe you were too caught up in the beauty of it all to notice, too distracted by the way the trees press in so closely on either side that the sky nearly disappears. Pine and bark and leaf, packed so thick they swallow the afternoon light whole, turning midday into a dim, gray dusk. But if you did notice, you would have seen that the street lamps were already on in the middle of the day, burning quietly in the dark that the forest makes for itself. The drive down First Street feels long, longer than it should. Every lamp post looks exactly like the one before it. Every stretch of trees mirrors the last. A few street decorations here and there, a hanging sign, a carved post, break the pattern just enough to remind you that you're moving, that you haven't been swallowed whole. And then the buildings begin to appear, stone and steel, as tall as the trees themselves, window frames draped in ivy, branches reaching overhead, small parks with statues, stone figures you don't quite look at long enough to make out. And then the T-junction arrives. Turn right for Blackwood. The first time you make that drive, it feels like passing through a portal, like the road is carrying you somewhere time forgot, and forgot on purpose. But here is where it gets interesting. Blackwood Insomniacs. The first time you drive down one First Street, you're too overwhelmed to see anything beyond the beauty of it. The architecture, the trees, the strange and heavy quiet. But the second time, you notice something you missed. And the third time, something else again. The street reveals itself slowly, the way a stranger builds trust, carefully, deliberately, only showing you what it wants you to see. And eventually, when you've made the trip enough times, you'll start to see them. Under the lampposts, it starts small, a shape at the very edge of your headlights, a dark figure standing beneath a burning lamp, there for just a fraction of a second before the road carries you past. You tell yourself you imagined it, you glance in your rearview mirror, and there's nothing there, just the amber glow of the lamp and the black mouth of the forest yawning behind it. You keep driving, but it happens again, and each time the shape is a little more solid, a little more human, a woman standing beneath the light. Still, watching, pay attention to the street lamps that flicker. Those are the ones, that is where they stand. At first, most people dismiss it. Faulty wiring, they say. The forest playing tricks on tired eyes. That's the comfortable explanation, the one favored by people who don't drive in and out of Ravenbrooke very often. But ask someone who does this road every single day, a commuter, a delivery driver, a local who has made this trip 1,000 times over, and the story changes completely. Even the joggers talk about it. Runners who take one First Street out to the highway say they feel it the moment they set off, the unmistakable sensation of footsteps falling alongside their own. Someone keeping pace beside them, breath matching breath, stride matching stride, but when they turn their head, there is nothing. Just empty brick road and the silence of the trees pressing in. And on the way back, that presence is gone entirely. They run alone, and somehow that feels worse. For those who commute daily, who have logged enough hours on that road that they no longer see it as beautiful, just as a means of getting somewhere else, the shadows are undeniable. Figures stepping into the light as headlights approach, retreating back into the dark as cars pass, moving from lamp to lamp, keeping pace with the traffic, like they are following, like they are hoping this time someone will slow down, someone will stop. The theory most people have quietly settled on is this: they are the 9 women, the ones who vanished all those years ago in what remains one of the deepest and most unhealed wounds in Ravenbrooke's history. The forest took them in life, and in death it refuses to release them, so they walk First Street instead, drawn to its light, drifting toward the edge of Ravenbrooke without ever quite being able to cross it. Reaching, always reaching, for the highway, for the world beyond the trees, for someone willing to carry them out. But here's the part that stays with me long after I've finished researching these stories. The part I keep coming back to in the dark. Why do they only reveal themselves gradually? Why does it take so many drives down that road before you can see them clearly? Maybe it's familiarity. Maybe after enough trips, your eyes adjust to something they were never meant to see. Or maybe it isn't about your eyes at all. Maybe they're the ones doing the watching first, learning your face, studying your habits, making sure you're someone who can be trusted, someone they might finally be able to leave with. So tell me, Blackwood Insomniacs, do you believe it's the 9 women standing beneath the lampposts on First Street, trying to find their way home after all this time? Or do you think it's the forest, ancient and clever and patient, conjuring shapes in the dark to keep the road unsettled, to make sure no one ever feels entirely safe on the only way in or out of Ravenbrooke? Have you seen a shadow beneath a flickering lamp on your drive home tonight? And if you did, would you stop? That is enough from me. I hope by now you are somewhere warm, somewhere safe, and slowly drifting off to sleep. This is Allie. Good night, Blackwood.
If tonight's story stayed with you, become part of the Pink Collective by liking, commenting, and subscribing. Until next time, Pink Collective, stay curious, stay safe, and stay pink.